Team, den Meister der Saison 2023, Rhein Fire. Herzlich willkommen!
Glen, Toonga here.
Jadrian Clark.
Welcome to the first ever episode of the RPO Show.
The first ever.
Today we've had the privilege of having two of our former teammates on.
And John Shoop, the quarterback coach and senior offensive analyst.
We hope you guys enjoy this first episode. Stay tuned for what's coming next. What's up, Jay, baby?
There we go, man.
How you doing, man? First ever show.
First episode.
Been a long time coming.
Long time. I mean, what were we in London, 2022? At the NFL game.
NFL game.
Talking about playing together.
Did that.
Yeah.
Last year we spoke about doing a podcast together and like what we have to offer for that. Finally doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been planning it for a long while. And a lot's happened since last season. Like
it's been a long off season. I mean, obviously winning the championship and last year feels like so long ago, but it also feels like just a few minutes ago. Ended up coming to England this year, joining the British guys. England!
Straight out of London.
So that was cool, man. I was out there doing my MBA. Mm-hmm. Was a really cool opportunity.
How was that going from, playing ELF football, winning a championship, then what was it, like a week, 2 weeks?
Yeah. Straight
into Bristol.
Yeah, it was a quick turnaround. I had like a week after the season to...
And obviously that week was for celebrating.
Yeah, exactly. Right into studying again, back to school. It was wild.
And then learning football, and now you're playing fresh football, a new team, new players. What was
new country, everything. It was cool, man. I mean, obviously, I spent a ton of my time in Europe so far, just in Germany. Yeah. Going to England was a new experience, so that alone was a little bit of a culture shock.
Right.
It's a lot different, and
nobody waits for the green light.
Yeah.
For crossing the road and stuff like that. People driving the other side of the road and
very big vocabulary. They use more words than Americans do. So that was cool.
A little bit more intelligent.
I don't know about that, but they sound more intelligent. We'll give them that. And then just being a part of a new football team and settling in with that right into the season, that was cool. Got a scholarship to go out to University of the West of England. Obviously, you visited me in Bristol a few times.
We had a few good times.
So that was cool.
What made you want to do that? Because I feel like, not that we're in the NFL, but you see a lot of guys who leave college and declare for the draft early, go play NFL. They don't normally go back to studying. What made you make that decision to go back?
Yeah, I think when I was growing up, obviously football was my dream, but I always knew education was sort of the way towards a better life. I was really instilled in me when I was young, and I kind of always had the dream of getting my master's. And when this opportunity presented itself, for me it was more about the education than it was playing football. But then once I got there, it was super fun to play football too. So working on my MBA, almost finished. Got a few assignments left. Should graduate here later this summer. So was just playing football there out in Bristol at the top university, back-to-back champions now.
3 times.
Yeah, roll.
Not many people have done that. That's
so
big feat.
Yeah, it was cool and it was fun, and then obviously getting to spend some time with you in London, that was awesome.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. You were out there as well for the off season. That's your hometown, and working back at the.
Yeah, so I was I took on the role of really what happened was. Before I came here last year, I was speed coach at this private school, and one of the guys who worked above me, going back, he obviously started off there, and then he left, and they're like, we need to bring someone in. The program that they run there is super important. It's a foundation of recruiting kids to the school and sports to the school, and so they're like, Glen, you've been here 3 years, including this year now. You're familiar with the kids, you know how the program runs. You're obviously good at what you do. do you want to take on the role of being head of athletic development? Yeah. And I was like, why the heck not? Like, obviously the goal after football is to get bigger in the world of S&C, and I felt like,
sure.
you know, the age of 28 with obviously loads of experience, but not the same amount of experience that people normally have for the role I was going for. I was like, I'd be silly to not take this opportunity. So I took that on, and it was cool. It was a very different, you know, being an athlete most of my life. I think athletes naturally, just by the nature of what we do, we have to be quite selfish.
Yeah. So
selfish with your time, with what you eat, you know, with the effort, your energy that you put in, because our craft is so important. And so it was really cool to I guess experience it from the other side of things, and I guess essentially be a coach. You know, now this isn't about me. This isn't about the warm up that I like or the exercises that I like. It's about how can I best develop these kids and get the best out of them. And so I feel like that was super cool, because it also I don't like to be a leader. I'm not someone who's vocal. I prefer just to play, and that kind of does the talking for me.
Sure, lead by example. But
taking on this role it's not by example no more, because I'm not a student. I had to actively, you know, make sure I'm conscious of what I'm saying, make sure I'm able to deliver, you know, the message, the theme for the day, develop the program. So that was, I think, honestly, like the most character building off-season that I've had. Waking up at 5 a.m. every day, making sure things were set, the admin side of things, and then after all of that, you know, working until like midday some days or until 4 p.m. some days, and then having to go and train myself and make sure I'm ready for the season. So that was, it was super tough at times, but it was definitely like enjoyable. It was definitely character building, and I feel like I've seen that already, like this year, in terms of, you know, I'm not a vocal guy, but just, I guess, being more of a leader, not by example though. I feel like I've seen the fruits of that labor so far this year. So
how do you think it is for those kids to have someone who's as accomplished as an athlete as you come back and teach them? They gotta love that, right?
It was different. Obviously, like, I'd played in the GFL before, and you know, really the only people who know about the GFL are people who play in the GFL, or you know, if you're in Germany, or if you have friends or family who play there. So whenever I'd go back home, I'd go back to being a nobody. I'd be able to just, no one knows that I play football, and it's like that. But when I went back to the school, I guess because the ELF has become so big, you know, the media is so big, a bunch of the kids, the staff had like seen, you know, the hurdle, the help pool, and so every day a different kid would be like, oh coach, I saw your highlight tape. Kids that I don't even coach, kids that I don't know, like, oh you coach here, right? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh yeah, I've seen your highlight tape, coach. Well, I saw you hurdle that guy, and so
you went from being a nobody to that guy that got his hair pulled on ESPN,
right? Or being that guy who hurdled on the finals, like, and so that was a cool experience, and that was like, I guess, it was nice to see that people were able to like to see that and see how the league is growing and see how the sport is growing. So that was like super cool,
How do you feel like your off season was personally, just like with your body and everything? Like, I remember playing against you back when you were with Dresden, all the way back in the GFL, and I've just seen you develop every year physically and become a better runner and become a better player. It's awesome to see.
So I think the main thing that I wanted to do was how can I get better now? So, you know, before I come back to join you guys, join the team, before we start, you know, working football and learning the playbook again and stuff like that, what can I do immediately to get better? And I think an easier no-brainer for me was to be lighter, was to be leaner, was to move better and become more athletic. And I guess everyone knows in S&C that, like, you obviously get stronger or faster, or you lose less of what you're carrying around. You lose more weight, you lose more fat. And so the aim for me was to come back lighter than I was. And so that on top of the coaching was also a challenge in itself, because I've never been like one to fixate on my weight. I've always ate what I want to eat. I've always snacked on what I want to snack on.
Have some sweets, have some
sweets. Have a Berliner, have a French portion. Whenever I want, at random times of the day. And so it was super cool. Or it was quite challenging to not have to. I downloaded this app, MyFitnessPal. I'm counting calories.
You're counting calories now, dude? Okay.
Not so much now, because I feel like now I've gotten into like a habit of, you know, what's good, what's bad, when I'm hungry. But when I first started, it was quite extreme. It was, I went from 102 kilograms to 92 extremely quick. And people would see me like, yo, you eating? I'm like, yeah, but not that much. Right. And so I feel like that was like quite extreme. And then finally I kind of like got the hang of things, and, you know, I figured out, you know, I can eat more than I was. But, you know, again, like cutting calories, making sure my macros were on point, being a lot more conscious of what I was putting in my body. My approach to training changed a little bit. I was running a lot more. And so, yeah, I feel like that's kind of paid off.
Yeah, dude.
The hope is that it's
been a long off season. I'm ready to get back to it. I guess kind of the final closing of the chapter was the ring ceremony, man. We finally got our rings, dude.
Finally, after what? About 6 months?
Yeah.
How was that for you?
It was unreal, man. It blew me away. The design was cool. I didn't want to sneak a peek. A lot of people were like, did you see the ring yet? I'm like, nah, I don't want to. I want to wait and see it. So.
It was super difficult when we get there and they give us the box and they're like, oh, but don't open it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Yeah. Like, you've given me the box, so all I want to do is crack this open and get my ring. So that was enjoyable. Seeing old faces was enjoyable.
Yeah.
We obviously had Joachim came back from all the way from Denmark. Was it Denmark?
Yeah, Denmark.
Leon. We had
Anthony.
Leon come back, Anthony come back, and so I feel like that was like a really good close to last year's chapter, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was opportunity for us to celebrate one more time.
Right.
And then it was unique because it was so late in the off season to do a celebration. It almost was we've been talking all camp about last year was last year, this year is this year, but that was like the final point where it's like close the book.
Right.
This was last year's team. Oh, and this is the introduction of this year's team.
Yeah.
We come out, everybody, gets the cool intro in front of the best fans ever.
Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo, number 99 going nuts.
A bunch of new guys, and I feel like it was really good for the new guys too, because again, like you said, like all this preseason we've spoken about, how important it is to focus on this season, and the standard that we set last year was so high. But I feel like it was good to see physical reflection of what we had accomplished last season, and to also serve as incentive, obviously for us, but also for the new guys. Like, hey, like this is the standard. This is the aim. So we're aiming for this year.
Right.
So I feel like it was good for everyone, I guess, to be there and I guess be involved in that.
Yeah, it was great, and kind of like you said, we got a lot of new guys this year, man.
Yeah.
Several new imports, a lot of new homegrown guys. It is a new team.
If you had to pick one guy who you're excited to see ball out this year,
man, you're gonna put me on the spot.
Who wasn't here last year, someone new this year,
completely
you're excited to see?
Probably, I'll give you two.
Okay.
Tony Anderson.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how big he is, man.
Yeah.
Going against him last year, obviously he was a good player, but man, in real life, that guy's
right. I feel like he's brought in. I feel like not that he wasn't used correctly last year, but I feel like it's. And he said this himself, he's not a flashy playmaker.
Right.
And so I feel like sometimes with football, you only really see the guys who are getting the picks, the guys who are making big plays, getting big hits like Amari.
Yeah.
But I feel like really seeing him on defense, you actually get to see firsthand how good he is.
He's talented.
He doesn't go for the picks, but you don't even get a chance to go there because he's in good coverage, he's in good spots, he's real disciplined. I feel like it was good to see that, like, face to face, so that was good. Yeah, and then I guess the second guy for me, this is gonna maybe surprise you, but it's probably Moosey, man. Big Moosey. We got this guy who's like 400 pounds and like, it's just like, I want to see somebody try to block that guy one-on-one, man. Like, Big Moosey.
I love that dude. Couldn't even get a helmet to fit him when he got here. He's so
big. He had to wear an old helmet because he had to custom make his new helmet, and he's big as hell. And he moves really well though. Yeah, right. He's about 400 pounds, but like, he's not sloppy, he's agile, he's moving for the ball, he moves with intent. It's like, damn, it's like, how do you play against this guy? Like,
it's wild,
what do you do?
But I guess overall our depth is just so much more than last year. Like, we were saying it before, like, maybe at some teams you have 1s and 2s or even like 1s and 3s, but we got 1A and 1B everywhere. Pretty much everybody can be a starter here. It's cool to see the level of play just continue to rise everywhere in the league, especially within our own team. So, man, it's gonna be.
I feel like we obviously set a standard last year, but I feel like this year the potential is so high, especially. Again, like you said, the new guys that we brought in hungry guys, we brought in fresh faces. So I feel like the standard that that we can reach this year, I think personally is a lot better than last year. I'm looking forward to.
Without a doubt. You get to have a full season this year.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good. Be a part of the team from camp on.
And I feel like last year the team did an amazing job of like welcoming me, but I feel like I always kind of knew, man, like I feel like teams really gel during preseason. You know, we train 5 times a week. We train 5 times a week this season. Like, how could we not get closer during the preseason?
Yeah.
So I feel like being a part of that from the start is way better, because during the season we go down to 3, and a lot of that is, you know, approaching the game more mentally than it is physically, and so the vibe or the environment is different. It's a lot more specific. But I feel like being a part of the team from the start is, I get to be a part of the guys, but I get to like form bonds with people from the start and form relationship and build that chemistry from the start. We have a unique way of doing handoffs, and I feel like that must have been super weird for you. Going with Serge and TJ and Jacko, and you know, I'm here and I'm taking the ball. We're not doing no big podcast. I'm just taking that. So.
New way of doing the RPO.
Right. So I feel like even little stuff like that has been like, it's been cool to do that from the start. And personally for me, my number one guy that I'm excited to see, or my top 2 guys that I'm excited to see, one would be Brian.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I feel like obviously he wasn't here from the start. We signed him late. Super young guy, but I feel like his potential has been crazy. He's picked up the playbook super well. I feel like the majority of our team is a lot older than he is, and so it's really good to see a younger guy come with like a different kind of energy. I feel like his motivation for playing the game is probably very different to everyone. Where he's in his life, in his professional career, very different to everyone. So I'm excited to see how he reflects and how he presents himself on the field.
That's a funny one. Before you say your second one, Brian for me is interesting because I was, obviously the championship game for me this offseason was in Loughborough, England, and that's where the NFL Academy is. And so Brian was at the NFL Academy. I went to the practice, and immediately when I got to the practice, I saw this guy score 2 long touchdowns. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? This guy's talented. And I was texting with Timur, our player personnel director. He's like, make sure you say hi to Brian. Maybe someday in the future he might end up coming to Rhein Fire after he's done playing college football and stuff. Well, I talked to him or whatever, get to know Brian. I'm like, this guy's awesome, you know. I was like, I hope one day I get to throw to you. Like 2 or 3 weeks later, we're here together on the field. So it's cool, man, how life works like that. And
now Coach Andrews has another son. An older version of Liam.
He's adopted a new guy.
Adopted a new son. That's been like super cool to see.
Who's your second guy you really want to see?
My second guy, honestly, is Rohat, bro.
Ooh, okay.
I feel like, obviously, we have Coach Shoop now, and I feel like, and you could probably be a testament to this, like, Coach Shoop is amazing. And I feel like, even in practice, we've seen, like, Rohat develop so well, you know, making, like, passes. I've been like, damn, bro, that was a nice-ass pass. And so I'm excited to see, you know, how he reflects that on the field, and hopefully he gets more playing time, and he's able to reflect all the learning that he's done with Coach Shoop, and I'm excited to see how he does this season, and that's
an underrated one.
My underrated one would be Rohat, so that's my.
There we go. Musi and Rohat. I think, like you said with Coach Shoop, man, that's probably the biggest difference for us this year, like overall organizationally wise, bringing in someone who was an OC at 30 years old. I mean, it's basically the same age as us in the NFL. And
beat Bill Belichick in his first game. And
yeah, wild, right? Like, he's accomplished so much, but then it's not just what he's accomplished, it's who he is as a person. He's just so detailed and structured. And man, like, he's got a sheet where he writes all his plays before practice, and he has so many coaching points that are actionable immediately. You know, it makes complex things simple, and he, as you said, he's made Rohat better, right? He's made me better. Coach Shoop is special, man. It's awesome having him here.
And obviously we spoke about it before, and I feel like the coach has loads of experience. He's been an OC at the highest level. He's beat some of the top guys in NFL history. But what I really like about Coach Shoop, and what you can only really experience firsthand in person, is like how he approaches the game mentally. And so I feel like he's always has analogies, and you know, the little stuff like, hey, like, let's go 5 for 5 here. Or, you know, how he speaks about how, like, the cumulative effect of completing passes, and it's not necessarily always the deep passes, but it's like, hey, you know, in this little walkthrough period, or in this little, you know, in those little periods with the QBs and the running backs and the receivers, he's always talking about, hey, like, you know, there's no DBs, we're not running any complex routes, we're just going to run stick routes. But that cumulative effect of going 5 for 5 here then leads onto a scally team and move the ball. And I feel like that is such a unique way of coaching. I feel like a lot of coaches probably look at like the big plays or probably like always want to coach you technically and make you technically better. But his approach mentally to the game, I feel like has been such a help. Obviously to you, but also to like everyone around us. Like I feel like that's been such a help, and I'm looking forward to seeing like how that works out. So
yeah, cool. He recommended a book to me when he first got here, which is about getting to 54, and he sees himself. You know, he talks obviously a lot about how he's not coming in and trying to reinvent the wheel. We obviously had success before he got here, but his big thing is how can we improve it, and he views himself as sort of like a caddy to an elite level golfer where you come in and you just refine your approach. Maybe what do you think about this? What do you think about this?
Right.
Maybe get around the course a little bit better. And getting to 54, the book is all about, obviously 72 is par in golf. There's 18 holes. Why can't you do a birdie on every hole? Why can't you go one under? Why can't you do one better than average on every single hole? And it's this mental approach. Like you said, it's a cumulative effect. We don't need to get an eagle. We don't need to be perfect on every hole. But what we need to do is be really damn good every single time. And man, it's just awesome working with him. He's refined some of my footwork things, and it's the mental side that he's sharpening. So that's going to be awesome. Yeah. I know he's been working with you on catching every day before practice. He brings his notes.
It's cool how we have the practice script, but he rewrites the script, handwritten, and he adds his own notes to it. And it's like, again, we spoke about this a bit earlier on. Is that like obviously we have a bunch of competitors in the team, and I feel like competing is like what we're really good at. We have guys who have played at very high levels, guys who know how to compete. But what I really like about Coach Shoop is that he obviously competes, but from a less eccentric standpoint. He's not loud, he's not super aggressive, but he competes by doing the little things, you know, writing the notes, writing down the play scripts, again, you know, going through the plays beforehand, understanding, you know, where he wants you to be, where he wants receivers to be. And so I feel like that form of competing is good to see, because it then teaches us that competing isn't just, you know, the big plays. It isn't being loud and trash talking. It's about, you know, the little things that you're doing before you get to practice. For sure. Before you actually run this play, you know, what are you looking at? You know, what's your approach? What's the focus right now, or for this play, or for this period in training? So I feel like his way of competing has definitely like rubbed off on us, and for sure. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think we have a whole team of guys that are constantly looking to improve. That's one thing that I think we bonded over really quickly when we first got to know each other. Like, I have no time for people that get complacent, and that could be something really easy to happen to this team, and we can't allow that to happen. We have to constantly be pushing to get better. Everyone in the league needs to take that mindset, like, and you kind of see that, like, the level of play is constantly improving around us. So if you take your foot off the gas at any moment, you're gonna get, you know, surpassed. So
this is the worst time, because everyone's making so much growth at this time. Like you said, like the minute you get complacent, like, the people behind you or underneath are looking to overcome you. Again, that takes me to my next question. What is one thing that you think that we need to do this year to make sure that doesn't happen to us, to make sure that we have a successful season?
I think we have to continue to come together and gel and become tighter and tighter and tighter group guys. Oftentimes it's not even who's the most talented, it's who wants it more. And if you're playing for your brother beside you, it's just gonna, you know, make you go harder and you have a reason to play. So I think just continue to build those bonds. The morale of a team is something that is, you know, very important, having that group, that tight bond. So that and avoiding complacency kind of go hand in hand to me. What about you? What do you think we really have to do?
I think honestly not underestimating anyone.
Okay.
I feel like last year, obviously, like there were some games where we lost by quite a lot, and the easy thing that can happen is that we go into a game thinking this is last year. Oh yeah, we whooped those guys, we're gonna do it again. So I feel like staying away from that mindset, and I guess Coach Tom sort of always talks about, you know, we have this standard, and and we're never gonna drop that standard.
Sure, doesn't matter who we're playing.
Doesn't matter who we're playing, and so I feel like just really understanding that and having that cement within our team philosophy that hey, like we have a standard. Like it doesn't matter whether we play a team that's lost every game or a team that's lost no games. Like our standard is ours, and that's what we can control. We can't control like how good the team is or how well they play.
Yeah.
It's about playing to our standard, and I feel like that's one thing that we've obviously gotten better at since we started this off season or this pre-season, and my hope is that like we just need to continue to do that regardless of like we go 1-0 one week or we score 70 points one week.
Right.
The standard is the standard.
We just gotta keep getting better every day.
And the aim is to
reach
always,
your perfection. Yeah.
Right, to reach that, and so I feel like that's one thing that we need. I feel like obviously what helps us is that we have a bunch of new guys.
Right.
We haven't won at all.
Yeah.
And so fresh blood, guys who are hungry.
You can see it in their eyes at the ring ceremony.
Exactly. Like some guys haven't won.
Yeah.
Some guys have never won. Last year we had a lot of guys who had never won. Me and you had never won. Coach Andrews had never won. I believe Coach Tom Sula had never won. We had like a bunch of guys who had never won the championship. And so I feel like we were hungry.
Sure.
And so it's great that we brought in a bunch of fresh new guys, imports and local guys who have never won anything to kind of keep that fire burning.
Keep that fire going, baby.
To keep that energy.
Yeah.
So I feel like that has definitely helped.
For sure. Which team are you most looking forward to playing this year?
Oh, definitely Paris.
Okay, wow.
I think that, so obviously last year there was also hype around Paris. In the previous years they had loads of French imports playing across the league. What's going to happen if we bring all these guys back, and I feel like they did a good job of bringing back most of those guys, but the season wasn't as good as we thought it would be for them.
Sure.
But I feel like as the season went on, we saw them get better and better. We saw them develop. We saw them understand what it feels like to play in front of a big crowd. I feel like we saw them become more and more professional. And I feel like this year they've taken even further steps of bringing back more French talent, bringing back guys like Anthony, bringing back better imports, I guess, and developing like their presence in the city as an organisation. So I feel like that game will be super exciting because we'll really see like what is Paris made of. You've had a year now to develop, a year to figure this stuff out. Where are you guys at? They obviously have the skill and the players that they need to do so, but we obviously know that like in order to win, it takes a lot more than skill and personnel. It takes a lot of the mental side of things, how you practice.
The organization.
What's the organization like?
Like Rhein Fire, one of the underrated parts here is, man, we got so many staff members that come and bring so much and help so much. It's tough your first year, so we've done a good job of building something special here, and now everyone else in the league is continuing to grow and reach that standard and just keep pushing forward. So it's awesome to see football in Europe.
And obviously not to big ourselves up, but I feel like generally we set a high standard of not just the football that we play on the field, but like you said, the amount of staff that we have, the amount of fans that come to games, the amount of like gear and merch that we sell,
the stadiums
that we play in. I feel like we've really set that bar high, and I feel like, again, not to big ourselves up, but now teams have something to follow. Teams have like a blueprint to follow, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens now. Like teams that already have good players and now following this blueprint, following the standard. Where are they going to be at the end of
For sure.
at the end of the season? And so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah. I guess for me, the team I really can't wait to play would be Madrid. It's new and exciting and fun. I always like going to new places. And then I remember, if Madrid's anything like Barcelona was, those fans are going to be nuts.
The insults, the chants, the banging of the drums. It's like
Spanish people get after it, so that'll be cool and fun and exciting and something new and welcome into the league. We kind of just touched on it, but like obviously the championship game being sold out last year in such a stadium, and now you kind of see the trend is for a lot of teams this year to play in bigger stadiums. I think Munich and Stuttgart are playing in a big stadium.
They open up in a big stadium. They have another game in a big stadium. Was it Rocco and Berlin play in a big stadium?
Even us, we play against Cologne week one in a big stadium. So that's cool.
So I feel like the league is doing a good job of continuously developing and professionalizing the sport, and a big part of professionalizing the sport is playing in stadiums that can fit thousands of people, because then more people come, the sport develops, more people start playing the sport, and it's just one big cycle of development. So I'm glad to see that.
You got your family coming week 1, man. You excited?
Yeah. So my sister and her kids are coming down. This is like, I guess, their first family trip. Their first time seeing me play.
That's awesome.
And so they're super excited. My sister's like always calling me like, hey, have you done this? Have you done that? We're super excited. My nephews are always super excited to come and see me play. I may or may not have been pushing them towards football, showing them highlight tapes, and
this might be the thing that finally gets them over the edge.
Exactly. So it'll be good to share that moment with them and to see them enjoy that environment. So I'm looking forward to that. How are you feeling about the first game?
It's like, I'm so excited, man. I'm like ready to play again. Like sitting here watching so much film, getting prepared, it like makes me miss football. I know it's not as long for me. Like I was just playing in the offseason, and I was even sort of running a bit of Rhein Fire offense there. So it's almost like I was preparing for. I didn't really have offseason.
Getting more reps.
Some more stuff. Like spring football for me, and now just being back with the boys, being back with you, the O-line, everybody, all the boys, man. It's gonna be fun, man. It's new though. Every year we're gonna have to see, that first hit. Who's gonna step up and make the first big play? Like it's. I think the best thing about week 1 in football is everybody has optimism. It's like the unknown. Like we're just going into it.
No one is having a losing season. No one's having a winning season. At this point, it really is equally all up.
We're all 0-0. Let's go.
And then I guess also, like you said, like. One thing that I think that really helps, so one thing that I think might be interesting is that this I guess winter you played in Uri, now you're coming back to Rhein Fire. What was that transition like? There's a bunch of new guys, there's a couple of old guys, but the majority of them are new. What's that been like for you? Yeah,
it was a little weird at first. I mean, over there I could pretty much just throw the ball up and guys are gonna make plays. It was pretty easy.
Safety's in the wrong spot, or safety actually rolled down when he wasn't meant to, and
now we're going up against RDBs, and you got to come correct, right?
You got Tony, Amari, Darius. You got
even Till. I mean, Till might have led the preseason with picks. I mean, Till's an LO player, so there's guys everywhere making plays, man. So it's going to be interesting to get back and actually play ELF high level football again. So and I guess the other thing too for the rest of the episode is we did a few interviews with Joachim and Leon, man. So. And then obviously Coach Shoop as well. So, I guess what are your thoughts and feelings for this show for this year and everything?
So I guess we obviously spoke about what we want to bring to the show and why we're doing it. And I feel like obviously we'll talk about football. We'll probably break some plays down. We'll probably talk some NFL, all that stuff. But I feel like at its core, the beauty of doing this show is that we actually get to bring guys on and listen to their story and figure out more about what their story is, and hopefully that resonates or influences people with similar stories or who have never experienced that story.
Or at least entertains them.
I didn't make them laugh. When we have another coach coming in at some point who's extremely funny, so that'll be very
entertainment coordinator.
So like you said, we obviously have Joachim and Leon in the show, and I feel like both their stories are both like, they both contrast each other. They're both on opposite sides of what it's like to be a football player in Europe. We obviously have Joachim, who's retired now, has a family, has a long legacy of playing at a very high level of football.
Sure, Division I football player. Won first ever ELF championship. Never waste a moment to rub that in my face.
And then on the other side, we have someone like Leon, who isn't an input player. He's a homegrown, but in reality, he could go anywhere and be a starter or be a top player. And it'll be interesting to hear their story and how they approach practice and what keeps them motivated and how they manage their time, because someone like Leon he's preparing to be a doctor. And so he obviously has to learn the playbook, have meetings, make sure he's eating, make sure he's doing scout, but then and know what scout he's on, know what that responsibility is. Learn Coach Andrew's playbook, which is not easy. But then on top of that, the next day or the same day, then have to go work.
Go do surgery.
Like,
you know, do everything we're doing plus be a doctor.
And so I feel
These homegrown guys are crazy.
It's interesting to give guys a platform to I guess just to express that and kind of dig into what that's like and
for sure. Tell these guys the stories a little bit. These homegrown guys are the backbone of the league, man. They give so much and work so hard. It's cool for people to actually get to see that and get to know these guys a little bit better.
You know, I'm sure every Rhein Fire fan knows when you start playing football, they know your history. But I feel like then to offer that same experience, that same level of exposure to some of the homegrowns, I feel like people will be very surprised at how good like our homegrowns are and the impact that they have on the team and how important they are. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
So I guess with that, man, we'll cut to the interview section. We got Joachim, Leon, and Coach Shoop coming up for you. Yeah. We had come straight from the practice field. Only had a few minutes to film with the guys while they were in town for the ring ceremony. So we'll cut to that, man. But thanks for watching. Hopefully, we continue to bring stuff for you weekly.
Yo, what's up, man? Welcome to our show, baby boy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Episode 1. Yeah, I guess we wanted to have you on as our first guest of the show. Kind of, I guess, as a way to close last year, after our ring ceremony last year. And we figured that you'd be like the best guy for it. To kind of work that you were coming today. So, perfect.
I appreciate you for having me.
Appreciate you coming back to Dusseldorf, right?
Always, baby.
Celebrate what we did last year, getting the rings yesterday. That was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
How was it for you?
No, I'm fine, man. I don't have to worry about football. I don't have to worry about you guys. I don't have to worry about my own shit. You know?
What do you do then, like?
Nah, I got a job back home in Copenhagen, taking care of my family, my kids, my fiance, and just enjoying life, regular life.
What's that transition been like from the Viking, from the black paint, from the banging to?
It's obviously different, but it's, actually Jay, I used a couple of words from Jay in that whole transition. He said, he wrote me, I can't remember, it said, be the same savage in your next chapter.
Right.
And I said, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go in there. And
I can't imagine you being anything.
No, it's been good. I feel like I'm at a good place with it. It's my own decision, which is nice. I don't have to worry about injury. It's not like somebody didn't want me or anything. We ended up on top, and I felt like that was the right move to do.
What a better way to end it.
Personally, in terms of what my accomplishments in Europe and what's next, there wasn't really anything.
Two-time ELF champ.
I feel like I had done that. There wasn't really that extra carrot out in the horizon for me to chase. So I felt like that was a good way to do it.
Did you miss it at the start? Was that like a big...
Nah, man, I've kind of been so busy, I haven't really thought about it.
What about coming back now and seeing
obviously social media doesn't help when you guys come to camp and have fun and all that stuff. I mean, then it's like, oh shit, But coming back, it's cool. It's you obviously miss to hang with the boys, and all the banter at the food places and the bus trips and the practices and fucking around, all that shit. But it's...
What about seeing me with David? Did you get a little jealous?
I got jealous. Like, I texted you when you were in camp that I hope you had fun with your new girl.
That was good. He made a little group chat every day.
That's how it is. Once your girlfriend finds her ex-man back in the day.
Right, they're like, damn, she went back to him.
That's how it is, No, it's good. David's a good guy. I got a chance to meet him also this weekend, so that was nice.
Oh, you guys hadn't met before this, I think.
No, we played against each other. We said hi, center respect. But it was nice to talk to him because he's one of those guys where I really have looked up to because he's a hard worker, he's a gritty guy who I can see myself in also. So it was nice to talk to him and get to know him a little bit.
Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. I guess with you transitioning from playing for Frankfurt so many years and then going to Rhein Fire, what were the biggest, reasons that made you want to come to Rhein Fire? And then after making that decision, it obviously worked out well, but do you feel like that was the right choice and everything, looking back on it?
Yeah, I was in a point after the 22 season where I was going to retire. But then I was like, but I also wanted to see somewhere else. I've been to Frankfurt for 3 seasons. One in the GFL and 2 in the ELF, and we did well. And it was... I talked with Rhein Fire, and it turned out to be a deal and a situation where I could see myself in, obviously with great teammates like you guys coming in, and Tony, Anthony Mahongo coming in, and a great O-line last year. So I could see myself being a part of that because I've always been having that opinion about it, like if I'm playing football, it has to be to win. Like I'm not just fucking around. Like so, and we obviously did that.
Yeah.
So it was a great decision. And Rhein Fire as an organization has just been great. Like you guys can attest to that.
Yeah.
It's just a great place to be as an import, as a football organization.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun because you do it right here. Like,
Right.
Yeah. I think guys like you that played Division I football as Europeans that didn't come back. So it's gonna be hard transitioning from such a professional environment to then things in Europe aren't always that way, but the program here is almost the same as being a D1 program.
No, it was great because I was very worried because I had some issues coming back from the States. The whole mentality of playing football is not the same in Europe.
Right.
So when you come as a European back with that mentality, everybody's like, oh, shut up, dude. Like, why are you doing that? But here in Rhein Fire, I could actually scream at people in practice, like, you're a psycho too. Like, everybody wants to win, and we could like say, fuck you, and let's fucking do this. And you're like, what's up, bro? How you doing? And like, it was like, oh shit, you can actually be yourself and be that competitor. You don't have to worry about people's feelings and stuff, because Tonsul is going to be on your ass anyway.
Right.
So, no, it's been great. I was really fortunate to experience that year last year.
What about any advice you have for us now that you've come back, seen the new team, anything you would leave us with?
Some thoughts that have actually gone through my mind the last couple of days was I was a part of the championship team in Frankfurt and then starting all over again with a new team. And that transition from being a champion and then starting over was really hard because it's hard to say that you start from scratch in a new season because you just accomplished the ultimate thing. So I would say really stay humble in terms of like this team is a new team.
Right.
And the league is better than last year.
Yeah, I agree.
And this team is not better or worse, it's just different. So we have to find your identity in terms of the next couple of games and stay patient with it. Because it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same experiences. Week 2 is not going to be week two like last year. Just keep grinding, do each thing like we did last year.
And obviously going into our 4th season, we've had 3 different winners. What do you think the key is to going back to back, or what do you think like other teams missed out on that stopped them from going back to back?
I think it's that mental part.
Right.
Because you obviously have the ability.
Yeah.
But I think the mental part is staying in that focus. Once you get that adversity, then you can get frustrated really easy because like, fucking worked last year. Yeah, but that was last year.
Right.
It's this year now. It's a new practice field.
You use the word adversity there, and last year was weird that it never felt like the adversity came.
No,
like,
never really.
Usually in football, at some point, there's going to be...
Yeah, we were waiting for it.
Yeah.
We were waiting for that. It was like, because I was remember like summertime, I was like, fuck, we were beating everybody. It's like, when is that injury going to come?
Yeah.
When are you going to get hurt? Or when are you going to get hurt?
Yeah.
When am I going to get hurt? It's going to come at some point.
Right.
And it's like, And then, actually, the championship game, I was like, oh, it's here.
Yeah, it's here.
Because they started scoring, and I was like, oh, shit, here we go.
That is true. The first start of the championship game couldn't have started out worse.
Yeah,
I mean, they score on the winning drive. We go 3 and out and kind of looked unlike our normal self. And then I think it was Falmar made a hell of a play and just got us out of a bad situation. And then we hit a screen or something and we got rolling. So,
because until like halftime, it was a close game. I feel like. Yeah. Like I feel like when you look at the score, it looks like like we blew them out, but really that wasn't the game. We didn't start scoring until like.
No. Stuttgart was ready. Stuttgart was ready. That was a tough game. That was probably the toughest game we played all year.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, just it's a new year, new team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And don't get frustrated because it won't work the same, but because it's not. So.
Yeah. So I have a question. It's a bit off topic. Yeah. Obviously, football has been a big part of your life, but now you have 2 kids, right? Are you bothered about them seeing you as a football player? Because Storm came to the finals, they came...
Yeah.
Right, so like, does that matter to you? Or like, would you want him to see you like as a football player? Or like, does that...
I mean, yeah, but first of all, I'm his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously the biggest persona I have to be to him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I wanted him to show my football. I got him turning 3 here. He got to experience a little bit, and he has some memories of it, Bernie, the bird and all that stuff. Yeah. He understands a little bit of that. No, but that's not been important to me. Okay. It's something we can look back on, and we got good memories also in Frankfurt with him growing up, being a little baby. Yeah. But no, being a football player is turned out to be my second identity because being a dad is full time. Football player was only those 3 hours on Sunday.
Cause I could imagine like guys struggling, like, oh, I want my kid to to see me ball out. I want my kid to see me in pads. And
it's obviously different when you have the kid in
Right.
the stands. It means a little more. But no, I wouldn't say it hasn't been a thought for me. Maybe later on.
Yeah, when he goes up.
But I still feel like I have a lot of value even though I don't play football.
Right. That's interesting. I feel like a lot of guys, I feel like I would struggle if I just stopped playing football and I had a kid and been damn, like, no more practice.
I feel like the whole conversation about stop playing football, it's not like it's taken away from me. I can still play football if I wanted to.
Right.
Is that a possibility?
You know, like
I mean, how retired are you?
Yeah. I mean, fully retired.
I mean, if I really wanted to, I could still play, you know. But I'm in a good place with it, so it's not like it's been taken away from me. If I got a knee injury in week 2 last year and then my career was done, I might well not sit here and be with the same smile.
Right.
You know, like
because it would have been your decision.
It would have been. So maybe.
Oh yeah, dude. I appreciate you coming back, man. It's not
No.
the same without you. Not the balconies connected like last year. We always hang out.
That was some good times. Yeah, no, it's really been fun coming down here and say hi to you guys and see you guys before the season also.
Will you be back?
Yeah, I'm planning on it. You know, my time schedule. I say yes to a lot of things because I have time on vacation
you can do it
and
more
work and all that stuff. I'll be back. That's for sure.
Okay, smooth.
Oh yeah, man.
What's the plans for the future then? Obviously, you have Storm, you have Camilla.
Right now, I'm trying to climb the ladder within the work field.
Is it the same as, like, do you have the same mentality towards that as you do football? Is it different?
I have to because that's the mentality I know.
Yeah.
That's the mentality that's gotten me to this point within football.
Can you talk shit to the clinics? Hey, fuck you!
I can. It might not be looked. It's a little frowned upon. But
You wear the eye black.
Now, there's certain elements. Obviously, also in this whole process of stop playing football, there's certain elements where you think like, what can I use from this world in the real world? And
You can't talk to your colleagues the same way.
No, you can, but there are certain elements you can use, and that's pretty cool. You find that out real quick once you don't have
That'd be
football.
interesting. Can you imagine, like, fuck you, bro? It's like, oh, my bad.
Sorry.
I'm just used to it. I'm just
used to it.
You fucking idiot. No,
Shoot, that's about all I got for you, man.
it's been a pleasure, bro.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
Couldn't have thought of a better first guest, man.
Right.
Our God.
Hey, you gotta start it up high, huh?
Yeah. It's all downhill from here.
Like, who do you have next?
Yeah.
No, but I get discounts on these episodes, right?
Might have a code for you or something. Vouchers. Maybe one day, hopefully.
Maybe a bus pass.
Maybe a bus Maybe a bus pass.
Sweet.
That's dope.
Thank you.
That's sweet.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Joachim. So, Leon, big footsteps to step in. We just had Joachim on.
Yeah.
And how are you? Welcome.
Hey, first of all, thanks for having me here.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Great opportunity.
My boy.
But yeah, I got to listen to the podcast before, so really footsteps, like not only physical but only like mental as well.
Yeah.
So no, but great to be here.
How was last night for you?
Last night, I mean, like, it was all I ever dreamt of. Like, I had this big goal of winning a championship game, or winning a championship ring, actually, and I pictured this so often, like, during my whole career, starting when I was a little kid, and now finally see it become a reality. It's just crazy. Yeah.
So why keep playing then? You've got this
Why
this
keep
ring, what's driving you to keep playing then?
Oh, I think there's like still I haven't accomplished which I still want to do, and especially next year I think there's a lot of things I can do and I want to do and I will do. So I think there's a lot of stuff.
You gonna tell us some of those goals, or are they secret?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously beat you guys.
There we go. I was a little less confident than Anthony last night, but I like it. I like the confidence.
No, obviously. I mean, you're always going into a game trying to win as much as you can. At least being the competitor I am, there's never an option to think you're going to lose a game.
Right.
Because
if
you already lost.
You've lost.
So,
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure.
So.
Okay. And what about the ring itself? Were you impressed? Was it what you pictured? Did it blow you away? What did you think?
I mean, I didn't have like a special picture in my mind, but I was definitely blown away. I mean, it's huge, it's heavy. Like when we got the boxes, we couldn't open it yet.
Right.
So they gave it to us pretty early. Yeah. So we had the box, and it was just like it weighed a ton.
That was tough. Oh, there you go. But don't open it.
I felt like a little kid.
Right, Christmas, it's like you gotta wait till the clock strikes midnight.
You can't eat the candy right now, you gotta wait.
But you gave it to me, it's like, damn.
So, No, but I mean, I think it's a beautiful ring. I think it's kind of, or I imagined how it's gonna be with having a kid one day. You just know it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
You don't see it
having a
before.
kid.
It meant a lot to him. Or do you think, so Wednesday you're going to officially become a doctor? Congratulations, right? I guess it's a little premature, but I know you're going to do great on the last exam.
I try my very best.
Or do you think that winning the championship and having that all done, or Wednesday is going to be a bigger day for you?
I think actually winning the championship is a big
Really?
deal. No,
Okay.
There's like hundreds of doctors.
Yeah.
Only 4 teams have won, 3 teams have won the ELF championship.
Exactly. No, it was just like something I dreamt of since I was a little kid. Like I always like had the dream of playing in a big stadium, being a professional player. And I mean, like this is the closest I can get, and I think the ELF is evolving great.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the viewership and everything, and looking at the stadiums. I mean, last year the championship game, having a sold out arena. I mean, having it at home was
It's
extra
insane,
special.
right? Seeing it completely sold out when we came out,
Exactly.
it was nuts.
And like before that, it was 1/3 half full, which was great because like it's a lot of fans. But then having it packed and fully sold out, that was just different. And
Right.
So
Yeah, I think what I like about your journey in the ELF is like when I first met you playing in Hamburg, right? All three of us played in Hamburg at different times, but to see you be a scout team guy and work your way up and your dedication and your hard work, and then also like to find out, oh, you're actually a doctor and you do all this on the side. It's like you're the embodiment of what I love about European football. The guys that work a regular job and study or become a doctor like you still find time to dedicate to the game that I grew up loving. It's really cool. And now I think you going back to Hamburg, I'm excited to see what happens this year. Maybe you get a little bit more opportunity. I've seen your role in the ELF evolve every year. I hope that you get a chance to really be an impact guy this year. How do you feel going into what is this, your 3rd year, 4th year?
4th year.
Yeah.
First of all, appreciate it. Really, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to Hamburg, there's definitely more opportunity to play. Last year I was a little limited, mostly played special teams, like obviously got on the field a couple of times, but not as I wish to, but looking back at it, like I'm fine with how everything played out. We got the championship, so that's perfect. But Hamburg, it's like the whole team is like a brand new rebuild, so it's not that I'm coming to a team which is already built, like kind of Rhein Fire this year, and just adding little pieces. It's most of the coaches are new, most of the players are new, so there's a lot of opportunities to take, and I'm trying my best to take as many opportunities as I got, and so I'm really looking forward to it.
What's that been like, being in Hamburg in his first year and then going back now? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Hamburg in the first year for me was just special because like everybody came from the GFL. It was post-COVID. Nobody knew if it's gonna work. Are there gonna be people watching? Does the whole like construct work? So there was so many unknown things, and it was so special that it had a special touch to it. But like now, year 2, year 3, the league is or year 4, the league is like established. There's like what you're going into, so it's just totally different because this year it's a total rebuild. It's new people. Obviously there's a lot of old faces, which is great to come back and play with because I've been knowing them since like 10 or more years now, but it's just not comparable. And also like last year at Rhein Fire is completely not comparable to the years before, or I'm sure not to the upcoming year.
The total level of the league is just progressed every year. You see it; it's wild.
Exactly, and in every aspect of the game, it starts with the players, coaches, especially, then viewership, everything, organization, and everything. So
I have one question about last year. Obviously, you mentioned that like you were limited in reps, and most of your time was in special teams. But then at the same time, Jadrian said, you're a doctor, preparing to be a doctor. What was that like? Like, how did you deal with that? Like, what kept you going? Because you were almost at every practice last year, and like you took almost every rep on like scout and stuff like that. Like, what's that like? Like, how do you deal with that?
I mean, it was tough to be honest. It was a hard year. Like, I really worked as hard as I could. I basically did nothing besides waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning, going to work, having a little nap before practice, going to practice, run my ass up and down the field, getting yelled at by Toonga. And then going back to sleep. I literally, I mean, I came...
Take the latex clothes off, throw the football gloves on.
Exactly. So, I mean, it was a hard time, but like looking back at it, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's, I think only looking back at it, you can really enjoy and appreciate what happened last year, how special it was, and like how the whole year turned out. But obviously this year I'm gonna be finished hopefully Wednesday, and then this will be the first year of my life where I can play one season without having like
wake up at 6 a.m.
Exactly. So without doing like anything else or
Yeah.
having a real job besides. So that's gonna be special, and I'm really looking forward to just really focus 100% of playing football, because that's most of the Europeans don't get that chance to really like put all your energy into. I mean, I felt I put all my energy into football last year, but you still had to put some energy to work and everything, because like there's an expectation you have to fulfill as well, and especially like in the medical sector, it's obviously I'm a student, or was a student, so it wasn't that high, but still there's, if you do mistakes, there's consequences, and it's the same in football in a way. If you make mistakes, there's consequences, so people are gonna have like hold you up to a standard you have to fulfill, and I'm looking forward to only fulfill football standards right now. So.
Do you think that one helps the other? Like, do you feel like the expectation or the standards of being a doctor helps you with football, or do you feel like it's the other way around?
I think like both, it goes both ways. I think there's like so many things I learned or you can learn in football which help you in your later life in whatever like field you're going into. And also I think there's a lot of like things from trying to be a doctor which helps you prepare. For example, Weidinger Andrew, he has one of the most complicated playbooks, or at least the most complicated playbook I've ever played in, and I guess the whole league. So just preparing for that, obviously I'm used to learn a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time. That's just one example of where
the details, the how precise he wants things to be.
Some might say it's even more complicated than doing surgery.
I mean, there are some surgeries which are definitely easier. So
Wednesday, when you finally get that, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the fans may have gotten your one-on-one Panini card. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe whoever got that can get that as a gift for him for becoming a doctor. I don't know. Maybe if you're the one.
I'm sure. I hope we'll be able to figure something out, but I'll think of something and then maybe we'll see. I mean, that would be cool. That would be cool.
To get their one-on-one and find.
I mean, I was a little boy, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and I collected Panini cards like it was my life. When we were in like primary school, we were during like the European Championship, World Championship. Everything we did was around Panini cards. So looking like back at it, if I would tell my little self like back in the days that I one day will have a Panini card, I would not believe it. So for me, it's really special to like actually have a Panini card on myself. So that's definitely a childhood dream come true.
Nice, dude. You can put your ring on, look at your
look at your card, have a little section. That would be cool.
Nice, dude.
I guess I have one more question.
Okay.
So going into next year, or the season finally starts next year, what are things that you're working on for yourself personally to get better?
I mean,
it's on the field or off the field.
I mean, I definitely try to get better on and off the field all the time, but especially next year, I'm trying to, like, as I already said, step up my game and try to play a bigger role in the offense, and especially in the passing game, and just like playing a bigger role, like focusing more on like doing everything I can, having a higher catch percentage, definitely, like having a higher football IQ, and just eliminate the little mistakes which hold you back of being like one of the key impact factors in the football game. So I think that's the main point I'm trying to focus on.
Well, I believe in you, man. I've seen you do it. You're really good over the middle. Excuse my voice coming straight from practice.
Fresh out, right?
But yeah, I mean, like we've talked before, like I see in that Wes Welker, Julian Edelman role where you just maybe not the best athlete in the league, but you're a surgeon. You're obviously smart, right? You know how to get open, and you can't teach that because every look in the slot is different.
Right.
You know, linebacker's going to line up different, and the coverage is going to be a little bit different. So I'm excited for you. Outside of the 2 times we played this year, hopefully you do great. So
what week are those? What week do we play, you guys? Need to find out.
I think it's week 4 or week 6.
Playing in the big stadium.
No, it has to be week 6, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
we here at Rhein Fire, we don't look past week 1, so we don't
we won next week.
I'm definitely looking forward to playing you guys. It will be great.
Let's go.
Awesome, man.
Nothing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Appreciate you for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, appreciate you for coming, Coach. We thought you'd be the best person for our first episode. So.
Oh well, that's.
Yeah, we had a few coaches in mind. We were like, bro, I would be not do Coach Shoop first. Like, that'd be the best idea. So.
I think that's. I can spin the most BS.
I figured you'd have a lot to say. You've had loads of experiences. You've coached at a few places, so we thought you'd have like the best story to tell. So we were like, why not have Coach tell his.
Well, I have been a lot of places. There's no doubt.
and I heard you're a natural at spike ball. I heard yesterday at the O-line barbecue it went pretty well.
I wouldn't say I'm a natural at spike ball. I must say some of the bigger guys like Stock and Kevin
They were
were actually pretty good. Yeah.
They can move.
Yeah, they got some range too.
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever played it. It was fun though.
You're just naturally good at games.
I wouldn't say that. I don't know who you guys might have gotten some misinformation. Maybe somebody trying to kiss the coach's butt or something like that, which I respect.
Yeah, gotta do some of that sometimes.
That's a big game back in Florida though. People love to play it on the beach and stuff.
I know. I've always seen people playing it on the beach, and I never went to get up out of my chair. But it was fun. I had a blast.
Nice.
What a great group of guys. The O-line.
Yeah.
Kev's got a great place out there. These beautiful gardenia bushes.
Oh, that Kev's place? Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh, I loved it. I didn't want to leave. I want to move in.
You got space for one more?
Yeah. Make you feel like you're back on the farm, right?
It did actually feel we were going through some windy roads and stuff. Yeah, there's parts about here that feels like I'm back on my farm for
Nice.
sure.
Why the farm? What do you like about the farm?
Well, my wife grew up in central Kentucky,
Okay.
and that's in the United States. That's the horse capital of the world, you know. And now we don't have like thoroughbred horses, or we're not equestrian. We've got a couple of trail riding horses, and she just grew up with horses, loves horses, and we live in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's beautiful, and I mean it's just a small little farm, and
So not much
kind
of
of
a
out
city
in the
guy.
middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Not much of a city guy.
You know, it's interesting. We've lived in so many different places. I loved like living in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I loved wherever we lived, Chicago, the Bay Area, Tampa. You know, we always tried to experience the city.
Right.
But maybe at this time in our lives, we were like, you know, maybe we'd be better suited to just go live off the grid. You know?
Yeah, very good. That was really nice, right?
Yeah. So it's we just got a farm out in the middle of nowhere. I muck stables a heck of a lot more than I do anything with the horses.
Right.
You know, my wife rides.
Okay. That's a long ways from being an NFL OC, man. That's wild to be on the farm.
It is. I've always thought like sometimes we didn't always have our horses where we lived. And so it was, you know, maybe just a few stops ago that we started buying, you know, farms. And then when I retired, we got a big, you know, a nice farm. But there's something about, I don't know if you guys know much about horses at all, but they're very intuitive.
Right. Yeah.
Which, if you're upset, they're upset.
Okay.
And if they're upset,
You
you know, they might kick you, and you know, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And so, really, it was a incredible stress reliever. And so, anytime I'm feeling stressed, I'll go out and sometimes just sit in the barn. I'll go out and, you know, work in the barn or something like that. And horses, they absolutely calm you down because, like I said, if you're nervous around them, you got trouble.
Yeah, you're
so
right. You don't want
it's
that.
actually been helpful, you know, through some stressful times in my life.
That's good.
So yeah, it's a long way from, calling Monday Night Football, to mucking a barn in the middle of nowhere, but
Yeah.
It's quite peaceful.
We got Glen to hold a dog for the first time in his life a few weeks ago.
You're not an animal guy?
No, I don't appreciate that they don't speak English or they don't speak any human language. So it is really, I guess, almost like you said, like they kind of, I guess it's something a little bit different, right? Like, and then because I guess they don't speak, I don't trust them. But I'm getting there. Start with a small one first.
Start with a little baby so I'll work up to a horse.
Well, we have dogs, we have, all kinds of animals, but we're out in the woods and in the mountains, and so we have bears all around our house.
Oh, nice.
And the bears actually don't scare me. They don't want to be around you. I don't want to be around them. Right. They'll go the other way. But we have, the thing that scares me are copperheads.
Oh, yeah.
They're poisonous snakes, and they're only about that big. And my wife just yesterday sent me a picture of a copperhead that was in her driveway, and that's my biggest fear, you know, because people step on those, and I mean, a copperhead can kill you. Like, I won't let people walk down to our barn without wearing boots or something, because, hey, on my watch, I don't want your kid getting bit by a copperhead. If we see a bear, don't worry. These little snakes. Yeah. So now I'm all nervous. I'm like, are more coming around? I talked to my wife before I came over here. It's like 2 a.m. her time. I'm like, do you see any more snakes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't think you have to worry about any of that over here. Right. I always say Germany is like the safest place ever.
That's what,
There's no tornadoes, no tsunamis, no earthquakes, no wild animals. Like, if you fall and get hurt, you got money for the rest of your life. Like, this is safety land.
Well, even at practice, like when the ball goes into those high weeds, or people go into the weeds to go to the bathroom, I'm like, gosh, I hope they have boots on. Like the ball went into the weeds. I'm like, I'm not going to get that.
Right.
You wouldn't go do that. Where I live, you'd never go into high weeds.
Right.
It'd be
it'd be like suicide.
No.
No, you got a question?
No,
go ahead. I had a question, Coach. And me and Jay were talking about this yesterday when we were thinking about like what questions to ask you. So I'm not sure if you realized, you always say, do you see it? Where does that come from?
Do you see it? Or sometimes I say, do you feel that?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. My dad kind of has a salty language and stuff like that. And, I grew up in the same city as Jim. Tom Sula. Not the same neighborhood, but we grew up in the same city about the same time. I don't know if that's a Pittsburgh thing. I don't know.
Okay.
I know people get animated in Pittsburgh when they start, talking. Right. I haven't gotten as animated here because it's not really my role, but my favorite thing is whenever Jim starts getting animated and stuff.
Yeah, we see that. Yeah, he gets into it.
It gets a little salty. So I don't know. That's the only thing I can imagine where it comes from.
Because he'll be like, no, like, do you see it? Do you see it? And it's like, I see it, Coach. I see it now.
Well, the other thing, a wise coach once told me, a guy named Marty Schottenheimer, who's also from Pittsburgh, but he's since passed. His son Brian is with the Dallas Cowboys now. But Marty once told me, he said, the key to coaching is saying the same thing as many different ways as you possibly can. Because how you understand it may be different than how you understand it, may be different than how Kelvin understands it.
Right.
And so I do think part of coaching and teaching is checking in, like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we've all been around coaches who just love to hear themselves talk.
Right.
And we can all do that, you know what I'm saying? But anyhow, I try to check in.
Right. Nah, I appreciate that. So like, what's it been for you like so far then, this season? How's the experience been?
Well, I mean this like sincerely. In the last 6 weeks, I think I've learned more football than I have in the last 15 years.
Oh wow!
Because it's a new system.
Right.
Over the last 2 decades, I've been calling the plays, I've been installing the system, so it's always been my stuff. I've always learned things because I've got friends and talked to them and stuff.
Right.
But you both know this offense better than I. You know, I mean,
I know what I mean.
Well, but you've had more experience in it,
Yeah.
and I'm learning it, and that's one of my favorite things about football is you're a lifelong learner, and I'll be 70 still trying to figure out how they call this, or what are they trying to do, or how'd they get that to the 3 technique, and I think Andrew's really good.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot from him. Jadrian's really good. I'm learning a lot from him, and just how you guys do things, and that's been probably my favorite thing. It's kind of stimulating,
Right.
I mean, when you're in your mid 50s and it's like you're going back to school again.
Right. You enjoy that?
I enjoy it, and don't pretend like I know everything. I'm learning a lot. That's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So many people have asked me what it's been like to work with you, and what I always keep saying to everyone is you just make complex things very simple. Like even our everyday drills with the footwork stuff. I've done so many footwork drills with different trainers and coaches, and like you said, a lot of that stuff is unrealistic to the game. Yeah. We do very simple movements, and it just translates. Like just working on the back foot slide and stuff like the stuff we've been working on. It makes football very simple the way that you coach it, and it's awesome.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. I think 2 things about coaching. One, I absolutely believe you have to practice what happens in a game. Right. And so, like, if I see people doing drills and that would never happen in a game. What are you doing? I'm like, that kind of drives me batty. So I try to practice what happens in a game. It's always a mantra of mine. And the other thing, I think there's a difference between coaching, 30-year-old men or late 20s, and coaching a 16-year-old high school guy. Right. And part of it is, I always say, coaching high-level athletes, and I call you guys high-level athletes, is you want to reverse engineer a little bit.
Right.
So you've been throwing a football for a long time. For me to come in here and say, well, that's not how you throw it, would be... So what we got to do is see how you're doing things, and if there's an issue or something that I think I could help you with, not climbing the pocket so much, clicking your heels, you're going to run into a 3 technique, then I'll help you. But at age 30, I'm not going to reinvent your whole throwing motion or something like that. If we were working together when you were 15 or 16, maybe I'd do a few different things, Yeah. And so reverse engineering is just kind of seeing how someone's doing things, and at y'all's age, it's just help you take the next step, And for you, it's been, just something as simple as catching the ball, thumbs, pinkies.
Right.
That's it. If you want to get good at catching a football, you can go to the States and people will give you a million different drills and all. How about you just catch football? That's it.
Do what you're going to do in the game.
That's it.
What is it like working with the best receiving running back in America?
I do think, we talked about this the other day. Sometimes people get painted in a way that may not be accurate. Because you're such a good runner and so explosive, you haven't necessarily been given an opportunity to be a receiver, and so everybody just says, well, he's not a 3rd down back, but he's like, well, you could be. Right. You know what I mean? Why can't we throw the ball to you? And Emmitt Smith, of course, you heard of him, but when Emmitt retired from the NFL, he was the all-time leading rusher. And he once said, when my game went from, just 1,000-yard rusher to, now 1,600 and winning the rushing title, is when I stayed in on 3rd down, became a great blocker, and also a receiving threat. And the reason why is, and Jay will tell you this, 3rd down, 3rd and 3 to 6 is when you see a lot of man-to-man.
Right.
And when you see man-to-man or when you break long runs, there's only one line of defense.
Right.
If you break the first line of defense, a guy like you, 5 yards needs to be 55 and a touchdown.
Right.
So if you get some of those on third down, all of a sudden you go from good to great. There's like a book in the how to go from good to great. That's how running backs can go from good to great. Staying on third down, get long runs when it's man to man.
Right. Get the linebackers. And
Get that ability to generate explosive plays. Because like you said, once you break that first line, they're not in zone, aware of everything.
Exactly.
They're locked on a man, and you can really go.
Yeah, and in fact, like, when I worked for Tampa, a guy named Monty Kiffin was the coordinator. Tampa was great. He was the defensive coordinator. Mike Tomlin was on that staff, Joe Barry, Raheem Morris, a lot of great coaches. Rod Marinelli, he was an NFL head coach as well. But they were almost 90% zone coverage. And Monty always told me, zone coverage is the most aggressive form of defense that there is. And it's actually counterintuitive. But he argued the reason we're great tacklers, Tampa Bay's defense, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, the reason we're great tacklers is we always know there's another line of defense.
Right.
So get up and shoot your gun. When you're worried if there's another line of defense, you get a little bit nervous. You're like, oh, shoot, I got to make this. And you don't just fire through. As long as there's another line of defense, they used to talk about, like, hey, if you miss the tackle, just miss it so hard that you go flying out of the TV screen and they don't know who missed it. And the next guy's coming.
Right.
When you're playing man-to-man, there's no second line of defense. There's no other line of defense. And I always thought that was an interesting point, I always thought that was an interesting point.
That's really interesting what you said. So that aligns with something else you've talked about since being here that I fully believe in, which is playing downhill. And as offense or defense. And what you're saying there is by having that extra line of defense and zone coverage, they can be aggressive and go for the tackle. And that's the defense playing downhill. But you as a philosophy on offense believe we need to always be playing downhill. Yeah. And I totally agree. I don't ever believe in being passive or waiting for the next guy to make a play or, let's just live for another down. There are spots for that, but I believe in trying to keep always putting the pressure on the defense and force them to make a play.
Yeah, so like, when I would game plan, I'd kind of like create themes. I'd kind of try to have a theme of the game. And, when you're seeing a team that blitzes really well, has fire zones, and you spend, I've been on staffs where we're spending, 8 hours trying to figure out all these blitzes and stuff. I got to the point where I'm like, hold on a second. Let's not start at trying to figure out how to block all these blitzes.
Right.
Because if they're blitzing, their coverage sucks.
Right.
So let's start with their coverage sucks. How are we going to get guys open?
Right.
And I believe this with all my heart. The best way to avoid sacks is to throw the football. The best way to throw the football is to get guys open. The best way to get guys open is to get guys out.
Right.
And so I kind of started like, okay, let's fight fire with fire. You want to try to blitz? Okay, try to blitz. Hey, the west right, close Z fly. With all these motions and shifts.
Yeah.
Right.
I always kept saying, we're on offense, you're on defense.
Right.
Screw you.
Right.
Okay, you want to blitz it, that's fine, but you're going to have to card this son of a gun in 2 days practice, and I don't know how you're going to do that. And as a quarterback, you always got to think, if they're blitzing, it's vulnerable on the outside. Right. So let's just protect the A and B gaps, and you do a great job of keeping your eyes up. There's a lot of quarterbacks that then watch the rush. And so I think it's important. Quarterbacks need to understand blitzes, and I've even said this to you, but don't get consumed with the protection. Don't get consumed with changing everything. Get consumed with where the route is. Get the ball out of your hand.
Right.
What if I were to say this? I think more quarterbacks get sacked than offensive line gives up sacks.
Totally agree.
You know, that is, they hold on to the ball or they get stuck. You want to avoid a sack, throw the football.
Right.
Get it out of your
And
hand.
sack.
And it's, you know, coach's responsibility. So that's kind of playing downhill. I'm always like, oh, that's pretty good defense. You know, like the first time you're looking at it, you're like, oh boy, we might get shut out. And then by dinner that night, you're like, oh, these guys don't have a chance. You know, fight fire with fire a little bit. We're on offense, you're on defense, screw you.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
Best defense is a good offense.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
So, Coach, I have another question. So, obviously, like, you mentioned like a lot of the names that you worked with, and you worked at in a number of places. What was it like coming out here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was your? Because we worked at Hamburg together. I think that was
Yeah.
your first experience.
Yeah, your first stop was Hamburg, right?
Yeah, well, I was only in Hamburg for about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
You remember? So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So, over COVID, well, I mean, over COVID, I got real sick. I have cancer. And so I've had 2 separate types of cancer, and they were over COVID. One's in the rear view mirror, one I still have. And so I didn't know if I had the energy to go back to the NFL. I didn't know if I had the energy, but my kids were getting out of the house. My youngest daughter was graduating.
Nice.
I just finished all of my, you know, therapies and stuff for my latest cancer. I was trying to get my endurance back, and my wife said, take a vacation, figure out what you want to do next.
Nice.
You know, if you've got the endurance to go back to the U.S. or whatever, do it. I said, well, all right, I'm going to Europe. And so I organized this whole vacation just for me, by myself in Europe. And as I'm organizing it, I noticed I was going to be along the Rhine River when Rhein played Hamburg in this ELF. I'd never heard of the ELF. So I went on the computer and just, you know, was looking for emails. And I emailed Max Potts.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, my name's John Shoop. I'm going to be on vacation. How do I get tickets for the ELF game? Because I was going to be in the area.
Right.
Within a half hour, he emailed me back and said, how about instead of tickets, you come coach, we pay for your whole vacation, you get, you know, because I guess Hamburg had just lost their offensive coordinator then. And I said, well, I can't, you know, I didn't even know if I had the endurance to like do this vacation.
Right.
I didn't know what it was, and I promised my daughter I'd take her to college, so I said I can't commit to a whole season, but you know, yeah, I can go for 4 weeks or 5 weeks. I think I was with you.
Yeah.
And then we got pretty good. I think I helped a little bit.
Helped a lot, yeah.
And then Munich offered me a head coaching job, you know, and I didn't know, again, if I was up to it health-wise. And so I took a little bit of time, but then I agreed, yeah, I kind of like it. And it's good. I can handle this. It quenches my appetite for, like, you guys are really high-level football players.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, you know, coaching high school was a little, it didn't, it didn't
quench the thirst.
It didn't quench my thirst. It didn't, you know, it was a little bit too easy in some ways, you know. But this really is stimulating. You know, Andy's really good, Jim's really good, you guys are really good, our team's really good, and you can do things, you know.
Right.
So that's kind of how I ended up here. And I loved Hamburg, the guys in Hamburg. I mean, you know, Schultze and Martin cracked me up.
I could always tell that you wanted to do a bit more. I feel like even though you knew you were only here for like a short amount of time and you know, you just wanted to, I guess, travel, I could always tell you wanted to get more involved. But
well, it's kind of like here, you know, I'd never, you know, you guys have had a great deal of success. I'm the one joining you all, you know, in Hamburg, you guys had success. I never like want to, you know, be that person who, hell, I ain't got all the answers. Like I said, I'm learning so much football right now. So, yeah, sometimes I wish I was just calling the plays. Come on, Schultz.
Yeah.
You called the plays. Come on.
I can tell.
He was
like,
awesome, though.
He
He was great.
Yeah,
He was
he was
great.
cool. He was good.
When in doubt, I was like, well, just hand it to Glen.
That's my motto too.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It remains mine. Well, Glen will gain something.
I appreciate that big time.
So as you can see, rookie mistake. The SD card ended up being full, and the back half of this interview did not get captured. There's a lot more gems we got out of Coach Shoop. Man, he's unbelievable to talk to. Obviously, wish you guys could have saw the rest, but I guess we're just gonna have to have him on again later in the season. So, hey, it is what it is.
So yeah, we appreciate you guys for making it this far to the episode to celebrate our first episode. For everyone that's made it this far, we're gonna be giving away these special towels, special custom 17, 18 towels,
Yep.
and let's go.
You gotta like and subscribe and watch our videos, and then at game day here this coming Sunday at Cologne, we're gonna be giving away that towel to one of our new subscribers to the RPO Show, Run Pass Option.
Let's go, baby.